Some stories remind us how strong a little life can be, even when the world gives up on them. That's exactly what happened to a tiny puppy who couldn't see, couldn't hear, and had been left alone in a box on a sidewalk. Melissa Shapiro, a veterinarian, heard about him when people began sending her messages nonstop. "There's a deaf and blind puppy who needs help," they told her. Melissa already cared for Piglet, another deaf and blind dog, and she and her husband had 7 dogs at home. At first she kept saying, "No, I can't take another one," but after talking about it again and again, their no slowly turned into, "We'll foster him," and fostering quickly became adopting. That's how George found his home. When George first arrived, he was tiny and curled up, sleeping almost all the time. But as soon as his paws touched the ground, everything changed. He became lively, excited, and full of joy. Melissa said he had the most adorable little dance, bouncing with pure happiness even though he could neither hear nor see. One of the first things Melissa did was take him to the beach. As soon as he felt the sand under his paws, George ran. He didn't need sight or sound to enjoy the world, he just needed space to move, smell, and feel. That joyful spirit is what Melissa loves most about him. Because George is both deaf and blind, Melissa uses tap signals to communicate with him. Instead of speaking or using hand signs, she gently touches him to guide him. Over time, George began to learn his own way of understanding things. Melissa noticed that, unlike most blind dogs who start exploring from the edges, George started from the center of a space and worked his way outward. It was his own learning style. On their daily walks, George figured out how to stay about 2 feet to Melissa's side. He can't see what's ahead, but he follows scents and tiny vibrations through the ground. It's almost like he built his own map of the world, step by step. At home, George explores constantly. Everything goes into his mouth. He learned the layout of the living room, especially where the dog beds are. He likes to collect things and carry them to his favorite spot. Melissa believes his sense of touch is just as important to him as his nose. Sometimes, his disability leads to funny moments. If he thinks another dog is next to him, he'll bark and try to play even if the dog moved away minutes ago. Melissa laughs and says he's playing with someone who isn't there anymore. But that's George, full of imagination, full of joy, and full of life. Even with his challenges, George has a free and happy spirit. He doesn't think about what he can't do. He focuses on what he can do. He runs, he explores, he learns, he plays, and he loves his family deeply. His disabilities may be part of his life, but they don't define him. What defines him is his attitude, brave, cheerful, curious, and endlessly hopeful. If George's story touched your heart, feel free to share it. Even one share can help remind people that every animal, no matter their challenges, deserves love and a chance to live a happy life.